All right, guys. What's going on? Today is Thursday, and we are having a date. As always. Tonight, I'm leaving for Las Vegas with my wife and my son, Seraphim. And we're going to have a little vacation where one of the days I will be judging the beauty contest. Okay. Miss World. So that should be fun. I'm gonna have some good time and go around Las Vegas and maybe go to the show and go to one of the canyons. So next Thursday I will let you know how did it go. As of today, guys, the main topic for today's stream is strategies for crisis managers to obtain the US work authorization, let's call it this way, but in fact it's the visa that grants the work authorization. But before we start talking about this important topic, let's first see what kind of questions you guys have. Let me guys know what you have in the sleeve. What bothers you today? What type of questions regarding immigration, my company, the cases, anything, what bothers you? Okay, I want to know. Think of it as a session with a psychologist. Okay, you have to give everything that's in a sleeve, so I could give you the most value. So let me know what you guys think. What's behind your minds? What bothers you? What kind of questions you have? While you're doing this, let me see first. Let me tell you what kind of approvals we had the past week. So the first one is O1 visa for our client from Russia. He is a talented specialist in fire safety. Okay, guys. Sometimes we get in the cases, and first of all, I learned a lot from them. Okay, just a lot, because the talents, they have no limits. Okay, the professionalism in those areas, there is no limits. So this O1 visa for fire safety expert, and he has recognition in the field, and he registered his own company in the US that will continue working in the field of fire safety. Okay, and I think it's very important for me to tell you about these cases, not only because I want you to know that we do have a lot of cases and approvals. It's not enough to have cases. There must be combination with approvals, right? And O1 visa is actually one of those where we get 99% of approval chances. This is very high, okay? Very high. So, and also it's important to know those approvals because it kind of opens up a new world for you where you can see where are the people have the cases in, what kind of categories, what kind of petitions, what kind of talents. Okay, so I believe that fire safety expert is very orthodox, very unusual talent to have, and also that means that we can get approval for that. All right, so really good case. Another one is O1 visa for our client from Russia as well. She is a talented tooth technician or teeth technician. Okay. So she's not a dentist. She's a technician, right? So she is behind the scene she's a person who creates those artificial teeth, right? She makes the form, she makes sure that it's gonna fit, she makes sure it's not gonna break. So she is the one who helps the dental surgeon to do the part of the work where they create the actual implant, okay, the actual new artificial tooth. Very interesting case also. It's a very unusual talent as well, right? Very unusual. So I enjoyed this case a lot. Okay, the next approval is another O1 for IT specialist. You know, IT approvals are a daily basis for us, so nothing special about that. Another really good one, guys, EB1A for a talented designer of clothes for pregnant women. I don't know why, but this week is like kind of, weird with the type of talents, very unusual, right? I did have a bunch, probably about 20 cases in my career where a person was a talented designer in clothes, in interior and architects and fashion experts, but never with such specific field. Clothes for pregnant women. Okay, very good case. I really enjoyed it. We actually filed it twice. We filed it twice because the first one we got the officer from the blacklist. Really bad RFE, really bad. And we decided not to take a risk. We withdrew, refiled, got an approval. Good case. Fun case. Okay, let me see. What else? Okay, that's it. That's it with the approvals. All right, so let me see. Okay, nothing bothers you guys. Okay, nothing bothers you. You guys are happy people. Which is, sometimes it's a good sign. Sometimes it's a good sign that you guys have no questions and you just come to see, maybe some of you come for entertainment, some of you come to get the value, some of you just bored. I don't know. So, which means, that the ball is on my side to bring you all those things together. So, let's talk about crisis management. And let me guys give you a story from my life first. I've never known that crisis risk management is a thing. I never knew before. One time in my career when I started practicing law, and probably back in 2017 and 18, I came to the seminar committed to risk management. Okay? And it was in the courthouse, there was a bunch of lawyers, and there was a guy who was like an expert, invited expert, a risk manager. And I had zero idea what kind of work this person did. And later I learned that there are different types of risk management, but this guy had a specific. So I learned that a risk manager is a person who works usually with entities, with companies, with agencies, government or private, and they are the ones who either design the protocol of action, what exactly needs to be done when something bad happens. Okay? And it's very subjective because for Apple, for the company Apple, a bad thing may be a hack of the system. Okay? But for the factory, a bad thing could be an explosion which resulted in death. Okay? So those are different type of risks, right? But regardless of those type of risks, the protocol is the same. Okay? And I may be a little bit off what needs to be done, but the concept is going to be very close. It's very close. So first thing that needs to be done when something bad happens. And you know, guys, it applies in life. Okay? In relationship, in your work, with the kids, with your partners, it applies to everything. So the first thing that needs to happen is the company representatives or organization representative should come out first and admit that something happened. Okay? They don't have to say exactly what happened and who is at fault, but they need to be first to come out and say that it did happen, and they do the investigation. And if something is known, give as much as possible. And it must be fast, and it must be the truth. Why? Because if you don't do it fast, or if you do it fast but you don't say the truth, other people is gonna say it either fast, or they're gonna say whatever they think is truth. And that's gonna bring a lot of damage. A lot of damage to the reputation, to the future maybe court cases and things like that. So it opened up for me a Pandora box. I was like, oh my God, I've never thought that this is a thing. This is like, he was giving an example. There was a big company that was digging the sand. Right, they were digging the sand and delivering to the construction, to whatever. And at one time, one of the machinery, the big excavator, it turned, it rolled down, it killed the guy. It killed the operator. And they called this guy really fast, and he advised them what needs to be done in the beginning first. They did it. And it came out really good. Of course, they paid the compensation, the family, they took care of it, they admitted the fault, and so they did everything right, and they had minimum damage to the company's reputation, to the clients, and all this stuff. And there was another case when some guy drowned at work, and the company did not push forward with their story, how it happened, and what was going on. And the journalist did the rest. And it bring a lot of damage. The company almost went bankrupt because of this case. So that way, it's clear that risk management or crisis management is a very important profession. So, because it's a thing, right? Because it's a thing, there must be experts in this field. Another side of risk crisis management is financial crisis. So if it happens that the company gets to the point, or organization or agency or whatever, if it gets to the point where some financial problem appears, there must be a protocol of what needs to be done and how it needs to be done, right? Like layoffs, optimizing the processes, looking for additional investment, cutting the expenses, and all this kind of thing. So all those things must be designed by a professional who not only understands the nature of the specific business, but also may apply his education, knowledge, and expertise to find out the best solutions to the most situations possible that may happen. Okay? Those people are more crisis managers, right? Crisis in the company. And that's more financial. So again, if that's a thing, and this is a thing, obviously, there must be experts. And if there must be experts, some of them could be having a lot of recognition. With having a lot of recognition, and reputation and cases and project that were successful, they may get the talent or national interest waiver visas. Okay? So what are the visas for these type of experts and specialists, provided that they do not have an employer in the US? And you guys know that almost every single visa that allows you to get the work authorization and work in the US requires an employer, with 2.5 exceptions. Okay, 2.5 exceptions. The first visa is EB1A, a talent visa, an immigrant talent visa that could be self-petitioned. In layperson words, that means that we don't have to have an employer. We may have it, but we don't have to. Okay? So this is the first exception. The second exception is EB2NIW, National Interest Waiver. This one requires to show that we have the idea or an idea of some type of project, endeavor, that will resolve some type of problem or problems, and the resolution of those problems is in the national interest of the United States. It's important to the US government. So let's analyze. Starting with national interest waiver. Let's say you are a risk manager or the crisis manager. What kind of problem you may resolve in the US? You may help large US companies and corporations to create the design, the protocols of action, what needs to be done in each particular foreseeable situation. That's number one. Number two, you may assess and review the protocols created by other people and improve on them. And you may be on the call, or you may be on the alert if something happens out of the ordinary. Something happened and there was no protocol. Like with this guy who rolled with the excavator in the sand and got killed. They didn't have protocol for this particular situation. What are the actions they need to take to decrease the negative impact of this event on their organization? Because other people, if they know that the company does not admit the fault, if they think it's the fault of the guy without them participating, that's going to affect other people on the production. And they may not know if they want to work there. And this could be really damaging to the reputation, and people may leave. And this company may go down, right? But if those same people know that the company takes responsibility, whatever percentage they're responsible for, and they're ready to work to improve, they're not only gonna stay, but they're probably gonna feel even better about their workplace. And the outside reputation of the company is gonna be to the extent that people will know that this company is ready to admit the mistakes, fix them, and help other people to achieve their goals. So those are the three problems that a risk manager may resolve for the purpose of national interest waiver. Now, the second question is the resolution of those problems is a national importance to the US government. And it's arguable. Some may say yes, some may say no. I strongly believe that it is important for the US government to have this type of specialist in the US who will be quick to resolve problems on factories, on works, on production, in IT companies, in banking systems. Did you guys know that almost every US bank is being hacked on an hourly basis, 24 hours a day? Every single hour, almost every big or large bank in US is being hacked. So if they don't have the risk management procedures in those banks, they're gonna damage their reputation to the extent that people gonna lose trust in that bank, which is gonna translate in outflow of the capital, which in turn is gonna damage the capacity of that bank to function. And that bank may disappear. Now, the question is it important for the US government to have the companies continuing their operations because of the proper risk and crisis management policies? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, guys. There's no questions asked. This is important for the US government. So now, if you are a specialist in this industry and you know how to fix things, how to do it quickly, how to do it properly, and how to make sure that things gonna happen, that those events will never happen in the future, you may absolutely, with confidence, look at EB-2NIW and get a green card for yourself, your spouse, and your kids under 21 years old. Now, let's look at EB-1A, the talent visa. Here, we need to prove to the US government that we have at least 3 criteria out of the 8 available to prove that we are extraordinary person. And you guys know, I want 6, right? I want 6 criteria. So, let's make a hypo. The crisis or risk manager for sure worked in a company or companies, his or somebody else or hers, right? So that's the critical role. If he or she is a good specialist, they get paid significantly higher than other specialists. That's the commercial success. This is the nature of the work of crisis risk managers, to go to the companies and assess the policies, the protocols of what to do when a risk or crisis happens. This is the judging the work of other professionals. The crisis manager or risk manager is the member of the professional association. This is 4. He can write articles on his approach, how to do the work right. Those are publications. 5. And the journalist will be more than happy to write about his cases, his projects, and his or her career. That's press. And PR agencies may help with that. So right off the bat, we have 6 criteria. Of course, each situation is different, but definitely 4. And 2 may happen very fast, the publications and the press. And maybe some of you, specialists of this field, may have a contribution in the field by your own methods or methodology, how to approach those situations. It could be in the form of a book. It could be in the form of a patent. It could be in the form of courses, educational courses that you teach. It could be in the form of speaking at the conferences or anything else. Dissertations, publications, monographs, many things. So we may have 7, and if we have awards, up to 8 criteria. So guys, this profession, just like many others, fits the narrative perfectly. Especially if Stanislav and his team working on the case. Okay? Because we know exactly what the immigration officer wants from us. So those are the first 2 options that we discussed where we don't need an employer. Okay? That's what I want to remind you specifically. What was the a half option, right? Because I said 2.5. The first 2 is EB1A. The second one is EB2NW. What's the half? And why is it a half? Because this option is all one visa. Same criteria is EB1A, but it does require an employer on the one hand, but on the other hand, that employer could be your own company, your startup. Okay? So yes, we need a company, an employer, but that could be you. So that's why it's a half, not the full solution, right? But it is. All right? Okay, guys. So let's see. While I was giving you my vision, I got some questions. So let's get down to those. Darwin, hey, once you said that you give PR agency to build articles and scientific, is it legal? Because we are literally buying this criteria for one. All right, guys. So I get this question all the time. And I'm a firm believer that when you work with PR agencies, ecologically, okay? I'm trying to find a better word than ecologically, but if you do it in the eco mode, and that's how we work, that's the type of PR agencies we work, that you don't say that you actually buy. No, that's not what you're doing. You pay to the PR agencies, so they play a role of a middleman between you and those journalists, journals, magazines, newspapers, and so on. That's number one. That's important how you phrase it. And number two, it would be illegal if whatever is in those articles and publications is fake. For example, they're trying to write an article on your project that never existed. That's illegal. But we never do this. Never ever. Never ever the articles that come out fresh and publications that being published, there is something untrue. They're all about your career, your achievements, your awards, your contribution in the field. They're all real. Okay? So there is nothing illegal with it. There is nothing illegal. So Darwin, you don't need to worry about this. I would never jeopardize a case or cases or my clients doing something illegal for the purpose of just doing it. Guys, I'm not like this. I don't need this. My license is more important. So everything that's done to improve your case is absolutely 100% legal. Okay? I would never jeopardize you, my license, my past or future clients. I'm not in this business. I'm a business of legal services. Mike, I have an O1 on my own LLC, but now I got a job offer. The employer is not willing to. I don't get it. But I can give job offer letter. Will I have to file only I-129 or the whole file? Okay, so a little bit hard to read the question, but I think I get it. So guys, Mike has O1 visa on his own LLC, right? Now another company is like, hey Mike, we got a job offer for you, work for us. So Mike is confused. What are his next steps? What are his actions? And you have, Mike, two options. Option number one, you get the whole petition that you filed and was approved and refile it. And of course, you need to update it and refile it for the new employer, get an approval, and get the new 3 years of work for this employer. Okay? So that's option number one. And yes, you'll have to prove again all the criteria. Option number two, they hire you as independent contractor on 1099. And you guys know 1099 is a form. There's W2 when you get a paycheck, when you work in-house, and 1099 when you are outside contractor and you're responsible for your own taxes. So if they're willing to hire you as an independent contractor through your LLC, you don't need to do anything. The only thing that needs to happen is the money that they pay you, they pay to the LLC. Okay? So those two options. Also, I will hire an attorney for this. Mike is continuing. Or can I do self-petition? I claimed for 5 and now got the O1 initial in my LLC. Now here for 4 months and have a really good job offer. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I don't know, Mike. 4 months is probably, it's pretty fresh. So you could just, change the employer, the name of the employer, just change your petition and file it yourself on. No, you may be physically sending it, but it must be signed by your new employer. Okay? So yeah, you can probably do it yourself. Maybe you want the attorney to review the petition. Guys, don't forget that your way, your journey starts, your journey to the US starts with a free evaluation. I'm dropping the links in the chat that you may fill out one, two, or all of them to get the free analysis from me within 2 days. What I'm gonna do for you, I'm gonna take your information, analyze it, and let you know which visa is good for you, which criteria we satisfy, which we may work on. And if I see the potential in your case, and what is the potential? Ability to improve your petition within the next 6 months to get a high chance of approval, I will invite you to the complex immigration planning, where I will build a written, winning strategy of your case. No one does it, guys. Only I do. Okay? So please fill out those forms for EB2NIW, for EB101. Okay? And we have more if you guys are interested in business visas. Okay, Mike continues. Again, they don't want to file a visa for me, nor they will take up the expense for it. Can I refile I-29 only and do change of employer? So Mike, there's a contradiction in those in the same sentence, right? In these two sentences, because if they don't want to file, okay, maybe you mean they don't want to deal with the paperwork. Fine, that's fine. But they need to sign the petition and they need to sign the job offer. Okay? So if they do it, you can physically file the petition itself and you can pay for it. Okay? So yeah, if they're not willing to sign, at least sign your O1 petition, which is ready for them. Then the only option you have is to work for them as an independent contractor, which is totally fine. It's not a violation of your status. And there is nothing wrong with this relationship. Okay? One thing needs to happen, and I want to emphasize it. One thing. They must pay to your LLC. And then no paperwork needed. That's it. Okay? Treasure. Glad to see you. I had a question regarding O1 to EB1A. Let's say I got O1 and now I'm in the US. Both have same criteria. Can I file EB1A on the same criteria? On the same criteria. And there's a list: media, scientific publication, membership, leadership, contribution. So, Treasure, yes, you can. Yes, you can do this. The question is, will it be approved? All right? And that's the bottom line. That's what you want to know. Because like Mike, he can file, but if it's not signed by the new employer, it's just not going to be approved, right? So the question here is, how deep those criteria are. And sometimes it's clear that it's not deep at all. Let's say you have 2-3 articles in the press, you have 2-3 scientific publications, you have 1 membership, you have 1 critical role, and you have 1 contribution. Again, it's not black and white, but if it's like this or close to this, it's probably not going to be approved. Okay? If you have 5 articles in media major media, big publications about you and your work or professional. If you have 4 good scientific publications in indexed journals, if you have some good membership, maybe hierarchically in the structure, not like regular, maybe fellow, like senior, recognized member in an association. If you have 3-4 companies that or project that you worked for successfully, and if you have a really major contribution in the field and you have the documents to support it, with the book, with the conferences, with press talking about it, with expert opinion letters, this is much closer to EB1A. So not only the number of criteria matters, but also the depth and how prestigious they are. You got it, Treasure? So that's very important. Probably without an attorney who specializes in this type of visas, it's going to be very hard for a regular person to assess, is this enough? Is this enough? So again, guys, free evaluation is the answer to most of your questions. Free evaluation form, the links are in the chat. All right, so guys, we're 45 minutes in. I'm pumped, but I see no more questions, and I kind of gave you everything I wanted. So I'm going to Las Vegas in a couple of hours. Wish me good luck. Tell me that, wish me to have fun, and assure me that you guys will be fine without me for the next week. It's like, you know, like leaving the kids in the house. All right, guys, love you all. Thank you for your time. Have a good end of the week. And remember, your future begins here. Good luck.